Hello and welcome. My name is Elise. Thank you for watching this video. Today I have a Slimline thank you card that I've made into like a cutout card. Let's take a look at the final product. Here is the card that I'm making today. You can kind of see how that cutout on the front is going to look. And let's take a look at the products. So this is the With Gratitude stamp set from Trinity Stamps. I've got some watercolor cardstock there and my card base out of craft cardstock. Some various distress inks because I'm going to do some no line watercoloring. And these are the silver brush, black velvet brushes in a 2 and a 6. So I'm just going to go ahead. I had that flower place where I wanted it on my card base. So I'm just swapping it out with my watercolor cardstock. I'm using Distress ink in Antique Linen. And I'll stamp this down a couple times. This is really great ink for no line watercoloring because it is water soluble. So it will kind of pick up, like water will basically make it move. And so it's great for doing that. I've stamped it a couple times and now I've cleaned off my stamp and I'm just repositioning it. For a slimline card, I want the stems to go a little bit longer. So I'm just stamping just the end of the stems a couple of times here. I think I end up stamping it like almost 3 times. They don't line up exactly perfect, but because this ink will move with water, it's fine for me to just, when I paint over it, you'll see, you really won't end up seeing those final lines. So here's how I no line watercolor. I'm not super proficient at this, but I really love the way that it looks on other people's cards. So I'm always practicing. I am just kind of going on the outline with my darker color. In this case, this is Pine Needles. And then I'll go in with my lighter color to kind of blend it out, which is Bundled Sage. So I'm just going ahead and doing all of these leaves here. And then I will also do the stems. For the flower, I'm using Festive Berries and Worn Lipstick. And then for the center of the large flower, I pulled out Scattered Straw and Mustard Seed, but in the end I just used Mustard Seed because it's not really large enough for me to use 2 different colors. So I am just going to go through and do some watercoloring here. Nothing fancy. Like I said, I'm not the best at this, but I am just going to play a little bit of music so that you don't just listen to me chatter, and I will catch up with you towards the end. So here I am almost to the end of my coloring. You can see the petals at the back. I just tried to make a little bit darker than the ones that are sitting right at the front. Also, this is sped up. like 4 times speed. So I didn't want to make you sit through a lot of coloring. I think in the end it took me about 20 minutes to do this no line coloring. So once I have got that how I want it, I just went ahead and heat set it so that I could do some splattering on top. Once again, this is a sped up clip. I'm doing all of this work on my water media mat, which is heat resistant. I've got a die cut. The die set comes with the full die cut, and what I'm doing is just using that as a little bit of a shield because I want to do some splattering, but I don't want the splattering to get on my flowers. So this is my tip for that. Just use the coordinating die to kind of block it off. So I'm just going to pick up some random color here and do some splattering. Of course, the splattering on the right side of the flower really won't show up on the final card because it'll get cut off here in a second. But I'm just using both of those shades of pink. And then I also will go in with the mustard seed. For the bottom of the card, what I do is I just slide down my little die cut cover here and just do my best to protect the flower. Of course, you could do this in a box if you wanted to. That would probably eliminate a lot of the loose splatters that end up all over my desk when I do this. But I think that this is just really, really cute and adds a lot to the final card. So once I have those splatters done, I'll go ahead and heat set it again. And then I can take the coordinating die that just cuts out this edge. I'm going to use some washi tape and run it through my die cut machine. But I'm going to have to do a partial die cut on this. This would be great if you were cutting it out for a traditional A2 size card. But because I'm doing a slimline card, which I do slimline cards at 3.5 by 8.5. So it's just not quite long enough. But you'll see here in a second how I'm going to accommodate that with my die cut. So I use a Gemini Junior die cutting machine, and you're going to see my plate here is a little sad. It has multiple cracks in it. I'm still using it. We're still going. It still works. I asked for a new die cut plate for Christmas, so maybe that will be in my stocking. But I'm just basically setting it off so that the part that I don't want die cut is floating off the edge, and because there's no plates, it won't press down. So you can see where it wants to go into indent, that's where I have stopped it. So I take that out of the machine, and then I'm just going to bring my trimmer over and trim off the other bits, because why I really needed that die was to trim around the flower. I guess you could fussy cut this if you really wanted to, but I absolutely hate fussy cutting. So if I can get away with never fussy cutting, I'm going to never fussy cut. This trimmer is great for this, by the way, because it has a little wire that shows you exactly where it is going to cut. So I knew that I was not going to cut any of the stems off. So once I have that, you can kind of see how this is going to look. And then what I'm going to do from here is do that exact same process, but on the craft cardstock card base. So I'm just going to line up the flower, take the die so that I can line it up in the right place, and run it through my die cut machine. Once I have done that, you can kind of see how this card is going to open. So there's plenty of room still to write a message behind this flower. I'm going to pop this flower up on the card base using some foam. I had some laying around. This is literally just like the kids aisle craft fun foam. But it's great to use if you don't want to use foam tape. It's definitely a lot cheaper than foam tape. So it's a good alternative. I'm just going ahead and using some liquid glue to adhere down that fun foam. I find that liquid glue is easiest with the fun foam because sometimes the tape runner doesn't like to adhere to the foam. So liquid glue or score tape is usually what I use. So now that I've got one side done, just going to add glue to the other side and then adhere that down so that it's sitting on top of the die cut area and that they match up. You would also do this and kind of offset it so that there was more brown, like the craft showing around the flower, but I liked it just as like directly on top. So once I get that adhered down, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting. Now the greeting will technically be on the inside of the card. Just taking my MISTI tool here, I've got it all lined up. I'm using some brown ink. This is Crunchy Leaf from Lawn Fawn. And just going ahead and stamping that down. I'll stamp that down a couple of times. I just really liked how this greeting just nested perfectly into where that flower is. I'm sure that a lot of us, now that the holidays are over, have a lot of thank you cards to send, so I thought this would be a good one to do. So now that I've got that stamped down multiple times, that completes my project for today. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope that you got a little bit of inspiration. All of the supplies that I used today are linked down below. Be sure and go ahead to subscribe to see more. Give this video a thumbs up. That really helps the YouTube algorithm. And I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much. I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday season.